that before. It just did it. I don't know. That was weird.
Well, it's there now.
You can't say that next time.
No.
It only works once.
There you go.
Unless you didn't notice it the first time.
No. It's a new drop-down box that it's showing now. I don't know. That was weird.
Oh.
They added something.
Hey,
There
it
we
says
go.
live.
Everybody starts talking
Y'all
nonsense
ready?
all at once.
Yeah. Hey, get all the jitters out. Here we go.
All right.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 48. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we have the man that goes from woodworking to car restoration, Nick with Stated Woods. How you doing,
There you
bud?
go. What's
I'm
up,
good.
man?
How are you guys?
Doing good.
Very well.
Good.
We usually started off and give us a little background on how you got started in the creative world here. Let's know where your beginning started from.
Oh gosh. Well, it's funny. It's sort of how everybody starts. So growing up, my dad had a little wood shop and I'm always out there. That's 5, 6, 7 years old, like putting nails in wood and knocking stuff together. But everybody starts nowadays. It seems like they buy a house, they need furniture, they go out and buy thousands of dollars of tools to build the $100 table. I did sort of the same thing. I was in the medical field for 11 years. I was doing that all the time. I built a house, designed my house, and I started helping build on that. And that got me the bug. So not even putting the furniture in it, but actually the house itself. And then I built a tiny little one-car garage outside the walkout basement. And it's like 110 square foot or something, tiny little thing. And about 3 weeks later, I outgrew it. And I was like, I got to do something different. So every paycheck I had for the next 5 years as a single guy, I could do that.
Yeah.
I just put it towards shop. And eventually I got out here. So yeah, we do. It's me and my business partner, Landon. And we're out here in the shop all the time. He's been with me. It'll be 1 year in May coming up that Landon's been here. And I've been full time. It'll be 3 years this coming Christmas. So we do woodworking, CNC, laser. We're getting into CNC plasmas a little bit. We've got a couple different businesses and things, but Stated Woods is what started it all.
Very cool.
Cool.
Nice. Thanks for being here with us today. For the people at home, my name is Jake Thompson from Northside Custom Crafts, and I usually do an icebreaker. My icebreaker for you is, if you were going to say, I'm about to go do this, how would you say it?
I'm fixing to go do this. I'm fixing to go do this. Yeah.
So that brings it to where are you located at? And you talk like me and Joey.
Yeah, I'm in the deep south. So I'm in North Carolina. I'm just outside. I'm way out in the country in the middle of nowhere. I got more coyotes as neighbors than I do actual people, which is good. I like that.
There you go.
I'm outside of Pinehurst, North Carolina. So if you're a big golfer, you probably heard of Pinehurst for the U.S. Open. It'll be here in June. But yeah, I got not many neighbors and 30 golf courses in 30 miles. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. And I did notice, before the show, we were talking about accents and how different people say things. And in your little intro there, I did just notice that you said coyote and not coyote. So there's another difference.
That's right.
I thought it was normal.
Sounded fine to me.
I didn't say it was wrong. I just said it was different.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off asking about the laser world because it is my main love right now. And I know that you have that huge Thunder laser.
Yeah.
You've had it a little over a year now. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you love it? And if was it your first laser? And do you love how big it is, or is it a hindrance how big it is?
I think it's the actual perfect mix because I think, Thunder has several in the Nova line. 35, I think is a little small. Most of your sheet goods is going to come in like 4x8, right? So 48 inches. So you have to cut down a sheet 3 times to get it to 48 inches wide by a certain length. And then you have to cut it again to get it 35 to put in the machine. So I think the 51 Nova is a perfect size. The 63 is a little oversized because, again, I'm going to cut my sheets down in thirds. Most of what we do on the laser is all production run stuff. I'm not doing small little one-offs and tumblers and all that kind of stuff. So I'm putting a full, like filling up the whole bed as much as I can and running the whole thing. 63 can only cut 48 inches wide on my material. So for me, it was the perfect size. It doesn't take up a ton of room in the shop, but I can utilize every inch of it inside there, which I like.
Nice. Hey everybody, I'm Matt with Wacky Works. Nick, I wanted to ask you about your building and when you put it up. You just did a little add-on a while ago, and I know when I did mine, I did pretty much by myself, and they had the plans that said that I could do it in a weekend with 2 men and a ladder, which was a lie.
2 men, 1 ladder.
I had 6 people and some tractors out there trying to lift things up at 3/8 inch steel. So, just curious, how did your build go? Was it pretty easy, or did it take you, a little bit more than what was anticipated?
Yeah. So the original building, I put up. I hired somebody to do it. So I did all the groundwork. I had a buddy of mine that has a grading company. And so we went out there together, pushed trees over, brought in a bunch of dirt to level it out, helped level that, leveled it out for concrete, all that kind of stuff. Then I had a company come in and do it. They put mine up in like 2.5, 3 days, the original side. So it was a building and then just a lean-to off the side. They didn't do the best job. So I don't think 2 days is quite what you really want. And then about, 3 years after that, I closed in the lean-to, and I did that mostly myself. I had somebody come in and put the metal around it, but everything else I did. And then this past year, we just added on 30 more feet to the front of it. I had a new company come in to put the walls up and the structure. It took them like 8 days. They did an absolute fantastic job. But everything else in the shop, minus the spray foam, we did. We actually did get to spray foam a little bit because the guys, we got friendly with those guys, and they were like, just do it yourself if you want to. So we got into the gun. But all the electrical, all of the lighting, all of that stuff, we did ourselves, put up the walls and everything. It was an ordeal. It took a while. But the money that we saved, I have a neighbor that just got quoted to do the electrical on a building the same size. My material cost was $2,000. His bid was $12,000 to do the electrical. So big difference. But technically I live out here in the county, and the county doesn't know that I have it. So I never got it, and I never had to do all that stuff. But that may bite me in the butt because we're probably going to be putting another one up here soon for Brittany to have a studio. But we got to have some fundraising to do that soon. So the county's going to find out soon enough. I'm going to get in trouble by somebody.
YouTube University will help you out on the electrical.
Yeah,
because I've done my whole shop twice.
You shock yourself once or twice. You'll know what to do.
Yeah, it's all good. No big deal.
I think you'll know what not to do.
Yeah.
It's just okay. Don't touch that wire again. Let's go to the next one. Like
my college professor always told us back in the day. He said, "Just lick your thumb and stick it in there. It'll let you know if it's hot."
Was he talking about electrical? Go for it, Jim.
You couldn't help yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
Yeah. Luckily,
What kind of college do you go to?
Yeah,
that was kind of like, that was kind of like it came out before I really thought of.
Yeah, you need to think about that.
Jacob, you got to think before you speak.
Yeah.
I noticed some of your electrical work. You had kind of a grimace on your face before you pulled that breaker.
Yeah, a lot of that was show. Most of the time it was show. Like I even wanted to film one where like I flipped the breaker and then I had Landon come in the room and I was like on the floor laid out and he was gonna like get all upset and worried. I was like, you know what? I don't want to. Like I honestly, we shot it and then I sent it to my mom and she's like, I hope that wasn't real because I just died a little bit. Some of it's for show, but it was fun and it's easy. I actually really enjoy doing the electrical work on a building. But
yeah,
fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I am Joey.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jamie from JP Woodwork. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks.
In 2020, you started something that's grown into a behemoth known as the Maker Collab. How exactly did it get going and grow to be what it is today?
Yeah, so the Maker Collab's fun. If you ask anybody, or well, Christy, she's fessed up to it now, but it was all my idea, and we'll joke about
That's
that
what
later.
I'm talking about.
But honestly, what it sparked to is that Christy had a laser at the time, and I did not. And I was like, you know what? I want to do something for my sister for Christmas. So I was like, let me do part of it. I'll send it to you. You do the laser engrave, send it back to me. But let's have some fun. Let's film it. So I filmed like me doing my part, stuck it in a box, closed it. She opened it, did it, all that, you know, and it went back and forth. And it actually was really fun. It was before Instagram Reels was a thing. So it's like a 2-minute video. But I was like, you know what? After it was all said and done, Christmas is over. I was like, Christy, that was actually really fun. We should try to share that with other people. And so we thought about it, and I was like, why don't we just host a competition on Instagram, right? Competitions weren't that big back then. Giveaways were big, but like competitions weren't. I was like, why don't we just like force people to do what we just did? And so that's exactly what we did. So in 2020, right before COVID, we did a competition where 2 people have to come together and do a collaborative project. You can do one part, ship it to the next person, they can do it, and then they enter it for voting. And then COVID hit, the world completely shut down. So we extended it a whole month. So it was like a 3-month project at that point. But now, going into its 5th year, we've had 5 different companies or countries compete in the competition. So it's worldwide now. It's all still here on Instagram, still the same basis. We give you a theme each year. So like this year's theme is music. So anything that inspires you about music, you can do. And that's just the competition side. And then later on, we developed, this was my idea too, if she asks. We decided to, we got to the point where we were like, all right, we're either going to, it takes a lot to run it. So we decided, are we going to let it fold? Are we going to sell that competition to a company? Or are we going to actually take it by the bull by the horns and run with it? And so that's what we decided to do. And we started the Maker Collab University, which is an online educational platform to help other people learn maker skills, business skills, content creation skills. And we even work with brands now so that we're forcing you to collaborate with brands. We're forcing you to collaborate with other people. So we do a lot of live Zooms, things like that, video lessons, but it's forcing you to grow a community. So all of our live Zooms will have 30 people on a night, and you're forced to interact with other people directly. And it's not just like us talking on here, but you'd be talking to a VP of a brand, or you'd be talking to Tom Silva from This Old House, so we have a lot of community sense in that. So we've taken a competition, turned it into an educational spot, and still have competition. It's the fun stuff.
I think that's pretty awesome. One of the questions I had was, I noticed this year, it seems like in the Maker Collab competition that's going on right now, it seems like there's a wider age range this year than there has been in past years. I think that's really cool to see the younger people getting involved. Has there been any pushback or concern from anybody about kids participating?
No, I mean, we've always thought about, well, should we keep everything family friendly throughout everything. So I'm not worried about things like that. I mean, if there's something that somebody does, we'll just disqualify them for being obscene or whatever. But I love seeing the younger people. So we've had some younger people, 13, 14-year-olds compete in it before. But for some reason this year, there's a lot of people doing things with their daughters or their young sons and getting into the shop. And so we're not holding anybody back on that. We encourage it. And I love it. We've always had the stipulation that it had to be like 2 Instagram accounts, so that everybody's labeled, everybody can post, everybody has prizes or whatever. But then when you have somebody come to you and is like, my daughter wants to spend time with me in the shop, like it hits you right there. And I'm like, we can't say no. We just have to let them do it. We have to let them do it,
I hate that.
Yeah. So I love it. We've had so many friendships come out of it. We've had people meet for the first time they've never met and they start businesses together. We've had people meet and have relationships afterward. I mean, it's unbelievable. The things that we can say, we could go on all night about the connections that people have made through that. And it's launched businesses. It's launched careers in the maker community, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And for the listeners out there, like, the competition to get signed up for it, is there a window for this, or can you enter? Can you give us a little bit more about that? What's the time frame to get entered in, and how do they go about it?
Yeah, so you go to themakercollab.com, or you can go on our Instagram account and see a lot of it. We open registrations usually around beginning of February or something like that. So the competition goes from March to May, pretty much. We started March 9th this year, right after WorkbenchCon, and then go to May 11th, and voting will start after that. Registration's open. You know, we give you 2 months to do the competition. So if you think about it, one person has 1 month, ship it to somebody, the next person has 1 month, and then you present it for voting. Registration is technically still open, even though it's almost April. So if somebody still wants to jump in, they can. We have massive prize packs this year. Christy added it up, and it was over $10,000 worth of prize packs from brands from all over the maker community. We actually paid people almost in a way to sign up this year. So any person that signed up got $15 credit to ShipNerd to help with shipping across, ship their projects. So it's just it's fun. It's free. There's like, what's the tag? There's no purchase necessary. I think it's always my anybody can join, anybody can have fun with it. What's the worst thing that can happen, right? You don't finish your project. No harm, no foul. You got $15 shipping, So it's a fun way to connect with people. And a lot of the people that we have, they come to the competition with no partner in mind. Well, we can pair you up with somebody. I mean, some of the winners a couple of years ago had never met each other, and we paired them up. They knocked it off, and they did well. So you never know.
Hey, speaking about working with your daughter in the shop, mine just showed up in the chat late. That's weird.
Jackie, always late.
Mm-hmm.
So give us a little bit more about this little 3-wheeled electric yellow bus you did. That was pretty interesting. What, just for the listeners out there, how did that come about?
Okay, so again, to no fault for Christy, this was my idea.
There you go. I like it.
What does she do?
This is your
podcast.
See, we're gonna have to get Christy on here now so she can defend herself. That's good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the text to come through. Landon and I were trying to decide if we had time to build our desks. Like we did this studio and built our desks, or do we just go cheap and buy something, right? So we're sitting at lunch one day and we're looking on Facebook Marketplace. Don't ever look at Facebook Marketplace when you're looking at something.
It's dangerous.
We're scrolling through, and all of a sudden these like little mini like things come up, this little yellow vehicle, and I was like, I scrolled past it, and then I was like, wait a second. I scrolled back down. I was like, man, what does that look like? He was like, I don't know. It looks like a toy. I was like, no, what does it actually look like? He's like, oh, it looks like a bus. I was like, let's call Christy. So I called Christy, and I was like, I FaceTimed her, and I was like, I think I'm going to get this. She's like, no, absolutely not. You're not getting that. We don't need that. What is that for? It looks like a bus. She was like, no.
Sounds like a dare.
Yeah, she was like, no, we don't need that. I was like, we could use it for advertising. No, we're not. So I hung up, and then I called the guy. And I was like, what do you want for it? And there were 2 of them. And he was like, you got to take 2 because you got to use one to rebuild the other. I was like, nah, I'm completely changing everything. So I don't need either. I just need one. But he made me buy both. And Christy was like, all right, we can put $500 towards it. And I was like, $500. So I called her back. I was like, I got it for $500. She's like, no, you didn't. I was like, well, that's what I'm telling you. I got it for $500. So
That's what I'm talking about.
Went from like looking for one thing to like driving 2 hours to get this little mini bus and bring it back to the shop. The next day, I told her, I was like, I never knew I needed something so bad. That next morning when I woke up, I needed it, So it's cool. And we didn't touch it for a while. And then, business and things got busy. And then finally I was like, look, we're just going to have to do this so we can take it to WorkbenchCon. So for like 4 months, we busted butt after hours, late night, on the weekends, everything to convert it from it's a 1965 West Coast Mailster. It was an old mail truck from the 60s and 70s. Wow. And somebody had painted it to look like a ice cream truck and all this. When we sanded it down, it still had the paint on it, like the mail truck, United States Postal Service mail truck paint. But yeah, we converted it from gas to electric. And we got it to the point where it would run and look good, so we could take it to Workbench. And it was like a hit. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. So there's a YouTube video out right now that you can go watch to see it. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool.
I watched all 42 minutes of it today.
Did you watch it? Good. Thank you. At least let me
was
run.
awesome.
And me.
Andy. Hey,
It was a blast to do. I learned a lot. I've never done. It's funny. Like the intro was like going from woodworking to car restoration. I've never done anything like that. And that, like, we've welded before, but like welding to the point where a vehicle has to stay together scared the heck out of me. Right? We had never used the plasma CNC, but to cut just a couple little parts here and there. So like we did like all kinds of stuff that we had never done before to get that thing up and running, like gel coating and fiberglassing. And yeah, I was an old woodworker before, but now I'm jack of all trades, I feel like.
There you go.
so my question was going to be, had you had no experience automotive wise before you started that project?
No, I've changed my brakes and I've changed my oil. That was it. All done.
Yeah, that don't count.
Yeah. No. So luckily, Total Boat is a great company, and they helped us out a lot. They're one of the sponsors for the Maker Collab University, and so they jumped on and was like, "Yeah, let's help you with this." So they taught me some things. I did a lot of customer service with them over text and phone calls, and they steered me in the right direction. And I only watched a couple videos. I wanted to try to do this myself without like actually watching YouTube to teach you how to do it. The only time I ever saw a YouTube video about the car was some guy rolled it in the first video, because it's 3 wheels. If you ever take a turn on a 3-wheel vehicle, like a 3-wheeler or one of these, you'll roll it in a second. And so I was like, oh, great. That's what's going to happen at Workbench in the hotel. We're just going to roll this thing on the side. But yeah, we did it all. It was the coolest thing. I really did enjoy it.
Heck, I'd probably roll it just getting in it. That thing, you know?
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's heavier than I thought. It's like over 1,000 pounds. I thought it was not going to be that heavy. The Wikipedia says it's 2,600 pounds. I know that's a lot, but I do need to weigh it and see what it is. So I'm going to make a funny reel, because Landon was like, it took a lot out of us to do that project. And I have another one sitting out there in the rain right now. And so one day I'm just going to wheel it into the shop, and I'm going to set the camera up. When he opens the door and sees it there, I know he's going to freak out. Yeah. I need to shoot that reel one day. Next week I'll do that.
So what did you guys do to convert it to electric? Is it like just straight battery powered, or is it solar?
No, yeah. So it's fully electric and battery. So we just gutted the motor, gutted the transmission, took the clutch off. I wanted to figure out a way to mount like a golf cart motor straight onto the transmission, so I could still use like the 3 on the column kind of thing. But it wasn't going to work. So we ripped it all out. And then Landon did all the electrical on the bus, because I had no idea how to do that. I can wire up a house and a shop, no problem. But when you get to 24-volt systems, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yeah. So he did all of that. And there was a video on YouTube that literally took him through the exact motor and everything that we got. So we got a Club Cadet 5 kilowatt motor, and then this massive battery. One battery runs at 90 pounds. And the battery costs more than the whole rest of everything. Yeah. But it's crazy. I mean, so that little thing, you saw it in the video, but we did get it down a hill. We got it to 40 miles an hour. And it was vibrating and scary a little bit.
I bet you that was sketchy. I bet you that was a little sketchy there.
Well, the one thing I really regret is I had the camera when Landon was driving it, and I did not hit record, but he got passed by a transfer truck, and it scared the crap out of him. You may have seen it in the video. His face was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I had to cut out some stuff because he turned around and he was saying things, and I was like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea that he's cussing, because he wasn't. But it just in his vocals and in his face, you're like, this guy's freaking out right now.
Hey, he looked back at one point, and I'm like, that dude, he saw something. He didn't like something. He had that look on his face, and I was wondering what went on there.
Yeah, I was like, that's now you know what a bug feels like right before it hits the windshield, right?
Yeah.
I can see it now. It's like Ricky Bobby. Is that the other cars?
Exactly. And when he got done, he's like, all right, I'm done for the day. I was like, oh,
Because I gotta go home.
yeah. He's like, that's it. That's fine. Let's take it away.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it's been fun. It shows me, like, that's my thing. That's my stitch. If you ever hear us talk about the Maker Collab or the university, my big thing is that you can do anything you want to do, right? Just because I'm a beginner woodworker or whatever doesn't mean I can't do anything else. So all I do is go do it. If I want to go try something, I go do it, right? The worst thing that can happen for me is that I fail, but I learned something, right?
Yeah.
So that's my big thing is if you want to go try to do something, just go do it. Get your hands dirty, right? That's all it is.
It's never too late. Never
Absolutely.
too late also.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's how we were taught back then. Back in the day,
Mhm.
you're a youngin', but we're a little old.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how they taught us.
I didn't start woodwork. I raced cars and did car shows and restored cars my entire life. And I was over 40 when I started woodworking.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we talk about on our channels is it's never too late to just try something new.
Yeah.
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 Well, I was nervous taking that bus to Workbench because I knew there were a lot of people that had experience with what we did, and nobody said anything bad about. They may have just been nice to our face, but nobody said anything bad about how like bad a shape it was. I think we did pretty good for the knowledge that we had. It's like construction workers, or contractors, you can make it look pretty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, people that have done that kind of stuff know that knows what it takes, and if they know that you didn't have the experience, they're probably like, "Hey, they did pretty good."
Yeah, I mean,
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I had an old 76 Datsun 280Z back in the day, and I had it like fully restored. And I had my buddy who restored it. He came up to the shop to look at it. He was the bus, and he was like, "I could do this in a year. Like I could do it good in a year." I'm like, "Well, I got like 4 months." He's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna get it done. Good luck." He walked out, and so I still had to take it to him and be like, "Look what we did." So yeah,
Sucker.
That's awesome.
yeah. You tell me I can't do something, we're gonna go do it. That's why Christy gets in trouble all the time. She's like, "We can't do that." Okay.
Watch me.
Watch me. Pull my beer.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've already lost track. Is it Matt?
I think it's Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tell me about your now collection of Phantom CNCs. And you went from an Avid, correct? You were originally with an Avid, and then you went to a Phantom.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two?
So I went with an Avid first. I actually bought a used unit. You know, Izzy Swan. He's a good friend of ours. We helped him build his mammoth Avid that he had back in the day. And then when he decided to sell it, I bought it from him. Well, half of it. And I bought it and used it for a good year and a half. And then I got into production stuff. I was like, I got to have something better, right? There's no vacuum table on it. Things were weak. Things were moved. I was losing parts. It was losing steps. Like there were a lot of things that were sort of wrong with it. So I called up Phantom and we did a maker retreat and maker meetup at the house here years ago. And the owner of Phantom CNCs was like, "I'm going to come down and check this out and see what this guy's doing." So he came out, we met him, nicest people, just good old country boys, down to earth kind of people. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. CEO's coming to the shop to check us out," but we never did anything. And finally I was like, you know what? I got to upgrade. So I bought my first Phantom CNC. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to do a comparison video side by side to them. So I did that. And some people didn't like the video, but a lot of people did. And I actually helped. I don't know directly, but I know I've sold a lot of Avid machines off that video and a lot of Phantom machines off that video, just because there's pros and cons to both of them, right? Everybody's got their own niche. Everybody's got a need that one person can fill versus the other. And so I did that video. And then Steve and I hit it off, and he's like, "Dude, why don't you talk to a couple customers when I'm busy?" Right at the time, Phantom was just like 3 guys working, and Steve's like, "I can't answer every phone call. Let me talk to them." So I would start talking to people just from experience. All I do is teach from experience. I don't bias. I don't, I'm an honest guy. I just speak from my experience, and that's all I'm doing. And so when I talk to these customers, it's easy for me. I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just trying to tell them what I've done and what I think would work for them. And it comes really easy. And so Phantom got me on as a dealer. And so now I'm the dealer for Phantom CNCs. So I talk to almost every customer coming off the site now, which is really cool. And I love it. I have a passion for helping other people. And you probably can see that with content, with the Maker Collab University and all that kind of stuff. But if I can help people avoid the mistakes that I've made in the past or learn from experiences, then why not? Why can't I help other people? So I enjoy that. And so, yeah, I've had several different Phantom CNC machines over the years now. Yeah.
That's a great attitude.
So what's the best?
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Good. What's the best thing that you like? Because I mean, I'm an Avid owner, and I've looked at Phantoms because they come out on the market. So eventually, I would like to upgrade my Avid to a bigger machine or whatever. Look for something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I do. I'm not a production shop. I have no ambition to ever be at that point. Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again. I'm just content with what I'm doing. But what characteristics of the Phantom are catching to steer somebody that way?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is the rigidity. So Phantoms are fully welded steel, like 1/4 inch to 3/8 steel in some places, whereas the Avids are more aluminum stuff. And so you can walk up to an Avid. I did a YouTube video about it. You can walk up to an Avid gantry and just like slide it back and forth. And the Phantom CNCs, you cannot do that. I mean, if I park my truck in front of it and move the gantry with the controller, it'll push my truck right out the shop. So it's built like a tank. I mean, we've had a machine get T-boned on the way to somebody's shop off of a truck, flipped over in a ditch. They craned it up, put it back on the trailer, took it home, plugged it in, and it run. I mean, it moved around. That was obviously cosmetic problems, but they're built like tanks. The fact that the vacuum table is already built into it, easy. I slap a spool board on it, do my thing for the spool board, works perfect out the box. And then the other thing that I cannot live without now are pneumatic rollers on the bed. So like, we all buy sheet goods, no matter where you buy it, you're going to have some that are warped. And vacuum, as long as there's a hole in between your spool board and the sheet good, vacuum's not doing anything. Those rollers put so much pressure down, 600 pounds on each side of the bit. Your sheet goods are perfectly flat every single time. I literally set my sheet down, start my job. I'll walk away for an hour and let it do its thing. And so there's no worry at all with that machine. I love it.
That was one cool thing that I've seen on them. The one thing that you get the vacuum table already built, which a lot of times, we've tried to come up with stuff and it's just very costly to add that in. If you want to do an aftermarket ready to go vacuum table, it's a lot of money. You're talking a few $1,000s if you want to do it right, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in there, and to have that in, doing the price comparisons of, I don't know, I haven't looked at Phantom here lately, but just doing the price analysis on both and what it costs me for my machine versus getting one and all the extras you get cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did my comparison video for the same comparable machines, it was like $1,000 difference. Now, obviously, Avid can ship cheaper because they're shipping it FedEx, UPS, and like it comes in so many boxes and you got to put it together. Whereas the Phantom comes pre-built on a flatbed truck. You just got to offload it. So shipping wise, it's a lot different. Ease of use, built ready to go. That's a whole lot easier too versus spending time. We went to Izzy's shop, spent 2 days building his machine, and we left before it was finished. I just couldn't stand that. But some people love that, and but to me, it's like when I go drive my truck, did I want to build my truck before I drove it, and how much trust do I have in myself that truck's not going to run off the road, And for me and like production stuff, I don't have time to build my machine. I got jobs ready to go. I got orders to fill. I want to just. So being able to plug it in and play is pretty good.
Yeah, I watched that video today too because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched that. So basically, it was like you get more stuff. It's solid. It's probably 3 times the weight of it, and you're just basically paying the difference in shipping.
Yeah, I mean, what I tried to tell people is like, I wish I had known it, because why almost spend identical money for something that's not as good? You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, and that's why I put that video out, is so I could show people the path that I took and the path that they could avoid. Not to say that Avid's not a good machine, because they're great. But if you're going my route and doing production, skip over that. Go to the big boy for almost the same money.
And you're not going to make everybody happy. I've had some trolls this week.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah.
They live for it.
All right. So you have the same Harvey Lathe as I do. I was just wondering what you thought about it. I had to be careful how I worded that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that thing is a beast. Well, I don't have much to go off of, because my first and only lathe I've ever owned was a Sears and Roebuck's like 1950 thing, where you had to build your own table, and like I had to use wrenches to tighten stuff down because all the knobs were broken, and like, oh, it was god awful, but it worked, and it taught me how to turn a little bit. I tell people I sand my things round versus cut my things round, because I'm not good at sharpening tools as well as I should. But that Harvey Lathe, like as soon as I picked it up with the tractor off the truck, I was like, oh, this thing's for real. Like it didn't even come out of the box yet. And I was like, wow,
Right.
My tractor was struggling. And it's heavy, it's cast, it's built really, really well. And Harvey's machines always look good. You know, you have engineers that engineer equipment to function, and then you have engineers that function and look sexy. And that's what they do. They make their stuff look good. And I love it. But that lathe, I mean, I got a buddy that's coming in. He's a professional wood turner, and he's going to come on it, and we're going to finish out a YouTube video for it. But it's a nice lathe. If you get the T60 turbo, oh, yeah.
All Jamie heard you say was that he has a sexy lathe. That's all I heard.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said that your tractor struggled carrying it, because we brought it into my shop with 3 guys.
Really? Yeah.
Carried it in.
Luckily, we had a chain hoist and a tractor to try to help it out, and yeah, it's a beast. It's a beast. But you know, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to move on you.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I saw the video where you had it spinning. It was on the hoist. It was like giving.
No, that was an accident. That was an accident.
It worked out.
We picked it up, and we were like clearing the path to where we needed to go. And I turned around, I'm like, that thing's over there spinning by itself. Like it had it perfectly balanced. I was like, we got to shoot something with this. And so, yeah.
It's a lathe that does that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You said you did some work on your house, I guess renovated or built. Which one was it? What?
I drew the plans out on a napkin.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's how I built this shop, was on a piece of scratch paper.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what did you find? What did you find about that? What was the worst part of doing that process?
I'm not ever doing it again. One thing. No, you don't realize that you have to pick out every single thing in this building. Everything. You don't even think about it, but you have to pick out everything from plumbing to electrical to outlets to, I mean, even like just picking out paint. We had 27 samples of paint for the whole house. You know, like it's just insane. But I drew it out. I bought a bunch of books like at Lowe's. Every time you go to Lowe's, you see like the plans books at the front and all that. I bought a bunch of those. I drew up, pictures. And I mean, this was like 2014, right? So like all these cool apps and things that help you design stuff, they weren't around. And so I just literally had like back in the day, like a board, like a dream board in a way of like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And so I finally took my paper to a local architect that I drew up blueprints, and he drew it the correct way. And then I had a, contractor come in, and they subbed out everything. So like I would jump in with them. Like I'd come home, I'd literally leave work as soon as I could on a day when like patients were done. I could sneak out. I'd go straight there, and then I'd like be on the roof the next day. Like the framers drove into the driveway, and the head guy got out. He's like, this is the first time I've ever been to a house, and the owner was on the roof with a hammer and a nail. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's mine. I'm going to go work on it. And I loved it. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to work on.
Yeah, I just got done with the project, and I always get myself. I have squirrel moments, you know, and my shop was laid out, and I just completely tore it apart to add on to this office, and through it, it was a lot. And I tell myself, like when I built at my old shop, I built it. I told myself I would never do that again, and then I get here and I build all this, and then I tear it all apart again just to build onto it more. And every time I tell myself I'm not going to do it again, I'm not going to do it again, and then I get right back into it. It's fun though, but it's tiring, you know.
Matt did all the planning for this room that I'm sitting in. He did all the planning down to the 2x4, down to all the sheet goods and insulation, air conditioner, everything. And speaking about, you know, everything you don't think about, the thing that whooped us the most was a stupid air conditioner shutoff switch. Absolutely whooped our butts, man. Everything else was cool. This dumbest thing whooped us.
Yep.
Lord. Yeah, I think we forget. Like I say, I'll never do it again. But like if I had the opportunity, I probably would. Because I think we forget, you know, all the struggles that we had. We just see the end result. And it always feels good to be like, I designed this and help work on it. Like it feels good. I want to do it again. So like, yeah, why not? Why not?
You learned your lessons.
I did that with the shop. I was like, you know, I built the shop. I was like, this is as big as I never need. And then a year and a half later, I was like, let's do it again. You know, you never know.
And now you might have to do it again for Brittany.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it. Right.
Yeah. It's all the little things. Like my wife is always, she's like, how long do you think it's going to take you? Oh, you know, probably about 3-4 months. So a year, huh? And I'm like, yeah, okay. You know,
yeah. Sure. Don't remind me all the time either.
Yeah. She was quite impressed that I finished this in the amount of time it took me to finish it. Cause she's like, wow, you know, and I was like, well, it's just cause it was in a competition. So I had no choice but to finish it. If it wouldn't have been for that, it would have probably still been framed up out there and nothing else would have been done.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to be said about a deadline and somebody else's involvement in pushing you to do it. Because otherwise, it's like that mini bus. I had that WorkbenchCon deadline. If I didn't get it there, I was going to be the laughing stock because everybody knew it was going to be there. So it's like, I got to get it done. Otherwise, it'd probably still be out there with a motor in it at this point.
It holds you accountable.
Deadlines are good sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just to see if I could pull it off because, you know, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know, a deadline, we found that really big with the Maker Collab because that year of COVID, 3 months, it was like too long, right? So we shortened it to a tighter deadline and it gave people that encouragement and motivation to actually go ahead and get it done. So sometimes a way out deadline is a bad thing, but like you got to have this by end of day. Oh, you're focused on it.
Yeah. Lasered.
Well, you talk about the Maker Collab University and there's courses on social media. Is that like how often to post or how to do a hook or like what all is that? You talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're doing everything. And the cool thing about this is like we listen to what people want. So our subscribers, they'll come to us and say, hey, we want classes on this or we want to learn this. So like we have over, 55 different either live events or long format content or things already up on the site. And it's anything from like how to create content creation with your phone, like good phone audio, good phone video, lighting, all that kind of stuff. We do all the maker skills. So woodworking, cabinet making, all that kind of stuff, epoxy. We have Jess Crow and Brittany on as epoxy people. Right now, the biggest thing with the way the economy is and everything, people are wanting to learn how to make money, how to grow their business. So like lately we've been doing how to sell on TikTok, how to sell on Etsy. We've got 3 courses coming up in the next month on how to sell on Shopify, how to literally build an entire website on Shopify in 3 courses in 3 nights. So that's going to be really fun. So it's a little bit of everything. And we've got a community forum on there where people can go and ask any question and people just flood to it and start answering. It's a great community over there. But we also have things on there like if you guys had a skill that you want to help teach, there's an application on there to be instructors. We've had people that want to teach, obviously, like things like how to do quilting and how to do paper quilling, which I didn't even know was a thing, folding paper into artwork. We had somebody on there that wanted to teach how to do puppets, like marionette puppets, you know? So you never know what's coming, but we're very conscientious about the material that we're putting out. We're putting out things that help people right now in the culture of the community that we have right now. So, you know, how's the economics going? How's the world going? All that kind of stuff. What's big in woodworking, which is what we know, right? So we do a lot of woodworking. We're fixing to do leatherworking in a couple weeks. We've got metalworking coming down the line. So we're going to broaden as much as we can just to be able to educate and teach so many different levels and so many different people. And it's all facets of skill level. Most of what we're doing right now is beginner. We do have some stuff on there that's more intermediate and expert stuff coming too. But right now, most of our community is people wanting to leave their 9-to-5 and do this for a living. And Christy and I have had experience of both of that, leaving our medical field. We have done that, and we're just trying to educate. And we're bringing in people and instructors that I consider experts in their field, and they're just teaching from experience, you know, life lessons. It's the best way to learn.
And what?
And do the lessons stay on there? So if somebody comes in, say somebody registers tomorrow because they saw the podcast tonight, will they be able to go back and see past lessons, or is it just in the moment?
No, everything is completely live and ready to go for you there. So even like the Zoom meetings, we have Zoom meetings, like we had one last night as a networking night. So it's just a gathering. We had 30, 35 people in there, and we break out into breakout rooms. All those different live events are recorded, and they're put up the very next day. And there's blog write-ups. So like free members, people that don't pay to subscribe to the platform, they can still see the blogs. They can still see the forum and communicate, things like that. The subscribers get all of the video access. So all of the live replays. So if you sign up for a live event and you can't make it for something, life happens, that is fully recorded and you can watch it at all times, anytime. So everything is live and free. We give out, we're fixing to build out an online store so that people can jump on there and sell digital plans or purchase digital plans. For the paying members, if we release digital plans, they'll get it for free. So there's a lot of benefits. There's discounts to brands if you're a member. So there's a lot of things on that platform that are really good to help people just elevate their skill and elevate their businesses.
And is this a monthly subscription? How does that work for people?
Yeah, it's $15 a month subscription. Yep. And I was thinking, why don't we do a little discount code for your listeners? So if they want to do it, we can knock off about 50% off for the first couple months.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll send that. We'll do a Creative Makers podcast discount code. I'll send that to you.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
That'll
Yeah,
work.
nice.
We'll put it out there for you. I've heard about it. There's some people that, you know, in the community, and they've talked about it. I haven't had a chance to go look at it, but I see y'all's stuff coming out, and it's real interesting. I've heard about some of the presenters that have come on there and taught, and everybody that I've talked to has had good recommendations from that. They said that's very useful and you learn a lot. So that's it's really intrigued me. I need to get over there. It's just having the time, you know. So much going on, you know, how it goes. But let's check that out. You know.
Yeah, we welcome everybody, and we have so much fun, and it's really like
Jamie?
building a community, a family over there. So we start to learn everybody in the Zooms and in the chats, and it's a great experience. We're having a blast with it.
Nice. So cool.
Yeah.
You accept British pounds?
Yeah, there is a conversion. There is a conversion. Yeah. Anybody can do it. Absolutely.
Trey Studios in the chat says he just joined and he loves it.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Nice.
I I don't know. I've lost track.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
So you touched on WorkbenchCon. Tell me about it. Tell me about going to work. I live here in Georgia. Never been to WorkbenchCon. What's the pros of going to WorkbenchCon first time or continuing to go to WorkbenchCon, and what's the cons?
Yeah, I mean,
There's
it
a lot
is
of
a
cons.
little pricey to go, but it's well worth it. So this was my 4th year probably. The first year you go, you're going to fanboy a little bit because you're seeing YouTubers that you've watched for years and, sort of idolize what you want to be like. So the first year you're like, oh my gosh, look who that is. Look who that is. And you sort of pinch yourself every once in a while. But once you start going, they're just like everybody else. They're just normal people. It's a great organization. It's a great community to go to. You get to see friends that you don't get to see but once a year. You network. Really, honestly, I've gone for 4 years. Only 2 of those years I've gone to a class. So I've either been at the Phantom booth or we were there at the Maker Collab booth this year. But the biggest thing, yes, classes are great. They're really well done. You've got big name people spreading their information, their knowledge, their life experiences of how they navigate in this world. But the biggest thing is just talking to people, staying up. It's the one night or one weekend of the year that I don't go to bed before like 3 a.m. because you're just downstairs. You don't even have to drink that much. You don't have to do anything. Just talk to people, and you make a lot of new friends, but you learn a lot. There's a lot to be said about working with other people. That's why we started that Maker Collab University and the competition. We are always in our shops by ourselves, right?
Recluse.
And the most interaction we have is listen to a podcast or texting some people on Instagram, right? Well, this is a way to get out there and grow from other people. And it's like coaching in basketball, right? You're only as good as your competition. I don't see anybody as competition, but these people out there that you're meeting are challenging you for your next thing. So you leave Workbench like fired up, fueled, like, man, if that guy can do it or this girl can do it, I can go do it. And so, on the way home from Workbench, we write down like 40 different videos that we want to do, right? They don't always come true, but it lights that fire that we need, Yeah. It's a really good thing to go to.
That sounds pretty awesome.
All right. So I recently saw the music collaboration you did with Christy. So shout out to Oak Hill Mill Works. My question is, when does the album drop?
When does the album drop? I don't know. If any of it is like that first collab, I won't survive it.
That's CTE.
Yeah. That was a lot. We shot 3 different reels that weekend when she was here, and we've only released that one. And the other 2, they have to do with like the mini bus, but they're just fun. But yeah, we have a lot of fun doing collabs. And I don't know if you guys follow every year with the competition. We always do these type of little back and like FaceTime type skits on Instagram, and they're always fun to do. And a couple years ago, we're like, we don't have time to do that. Christy was like, I don't know if it's warranted to do it or if people even engage with it. And I'm like, that's what the people want. They want us to look like, they want you to make me look stupid is what always happens. So a couple years ago, like Christy through her phone hit me with a pillow and it literally knocked me off the chair. And Christy wasn't do it. I had somebody else hit me, but it made her feel good. And this was the first time she actually got to hit me with something in real life. So she was like giddy the rest of the day.
She looked like she was enjoying it way too much.
Well, I should have had the camera rolling when she hit me the first time because she didn't know like how hard should I hit him. And so the first one, like my neck hurt the next day. She wailed, and I was like, okay, you can't do that again. Yeah.
It's great watching y'all. It is funny to watch y'all too. Y'all, it's super cool.
Did you guys work together in the medical field? Is that how you met, or
no? We met on Instagram.
To have that background
on the gram.
Yeah, we met on Instagram. Wow, I guess I made myself look stupid, but it was one of those back in the day, like in I guess it was like 2019 is when we met. Everybody was doing these little challenges on like Instagram stories of like, do something on a story that gets people to know who you are. And one of them was like, how do you stay cool in the summertime? And so I was like, I'm a farm guy. I'm out in the country. I was like, the only way I know to stay cool in the summertime is go out there and shoot yourself with a water hose. And so I did that. And she was like, who is this idiot squirting himself in the face with a water hose? It's like, I need to meet him. And so we just started talking, and then we collabed, and it just sort of ballooned from there.
Nice. We see Landon is in the chat now. Thanks for
Hello,
joining us,
Landon.
Landon. We
How you
enjoy
doing?
watching you on the videos also.
Oh, yeah.
So what is
Great job on
the
that
main-
electrical work, by the way. Great job landing on the electrical work.
There you
Yeah.
go.
He did it.
There
That
you
was him. That was all him. That was he. I've never seen him that happy when he turned that ignition and pushed that gas pedal down and started moving. That was probably the happiest moment I've ever seen him, because he was really worried about that for days and days and days. And when he saw it work, he was like, "Okay, this is gonna be it."
go. It looked legit too. Looked like how everything was ran. He did it nice and neat. It was good stuff.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Very nice.
I think we're at a point now, Jake, where we can do a speed round real quick and
Okay, let's do a speed round.
close it up.
My question is going to be: you got your first YouTube video and your last one. Do you ever go back and look at your first one and go, or think about how far you came, or just kind of freak out a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna delete the first couple ones here pretty soon. They're that bad.
No, you
They're that bad.
can't.
And I'm dating a epoxy artist who does like wave for a living, and I have a wave video out, and I was like, I made a mistake of mentioning it, and she was like, I have to see it, and I was like, no, but she did.
How about
I
no?
didn't.
Yeah.
It was god awful, so awful. So yeah, I hope they get hidden one day and nobody ever looks at them, so I can.
I went and looked at them. They're not that bad, but we all look at our first ones. We all look at our first ones and go, ooh.
I stopped it.
I go
too,
back every
so-
now and then. I go back every now and then, and I look at him. I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? What was going through my head at that time when I was doing this?
Hey.
And it's fun though.
You got it
get to
done,
see your
though.
Progression. Yeah. No. Yeah.
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 It's like looking at old pictures of your outfit from 1990s. You're like, why was I wearing that? You know?
I just wish I could fit back in them.
That ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
So my question for the speed round, Nick, is what did you do with the infamous sign that Christy made you for the logo swap?
Oh, it's hidden right now. That's a god awful, hideous little thing. It's hidden right now, but I am gonna put it up, and I have a whole real plan for it. She doesn't know it, but it is going up on the wall. Will you be able to see it? That's another question.
So Nick, design software that you use for your different things. Can you tell me about what are you using? I mean, I'm sure you're using. I think I saw a video with you using some kind of SketchUp for a little bit of stuff. But what else do you use?
Yeah, so most of what I do, like for CNC, it's all Vectric software. So like we've got Aspire now. We use VCarve forever, but we have Aspire. So we use that. Lightburn for the laser. I do a lot of work in VCarve or Aspire, and then transition it for like the plasma. We put it into like ProNest and things like that. I have drawn in SketchUp. I do my cabinet drawings in SketchUp. They're not to scale, so where I could put it to the CNC and actually expect it to do anything, it's correct. But I do it just for visuals if I really have to. But most of what I do is like flat work, CNC, laser stuff. So it's always Vectric, Lightburn, and ProNest for that stuff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'd like to go back to our beautiful lathe.
Here we go.
Do you prefer turning just wood, just resin, or a bit of both?
You know, the most fun projects I've done 2 of them that were multifaceted. So like there were wood and epoxy, and I actually really enjoy that. It's a challenge for me because I always, and you know, with turning, right? Worst thing to turn is like a burl because grains are going all different directions. Then you add epoxy and it's just like, I don't know what's about to happen, right? It can blow up in my face at any moment. And I like that. It's that, I don't know, it's an adrenaline rush, but I like the different colors. I like the burls. So I'm more of like a mixture of the two. So
I'm going to beat Jamie to it. He's going to say Easy Wood Tools, negative rate cutters.
Negative rate cutters.
It's your friend.
Yeah. The best friend with resin.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to go with the carbides. Plus, I don't have to sharpen them. I just unscrew them, rotate them, and they're still sharp again. Yeah, easy.
Oh, yeah.
He finally,
Yeah, but I like the
finally
traditional stuff too. I gotta teach myself the traditional way. I'm not gonna short myself and not learn that way either. So I do the traditional stuff every once in a while, and I do sharpen them, but they're not the way they should probably do it. Yeah, I'm learning there.
So you have a lot of tools. What's the next biggest purchase that you have in sight that you'd like to put in the shop?
So we're going to do some 3D printing here pretty soon, which I guess is not a real big tool, but I'm excited about that. We're going to do some 3D printing. And then we're just getting into the metal side of things. So we want to do some, have you ever seen one of those laser welders? I'd love to have a laser welder in the shop, or one of those that like can clean metal with the laser. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we've talked about like metal brakes. I still don't have a true big boy planer, but with the CNC, I can plane everything I want with a CNC too. So there's still a handful. You never fill up your shop. You never are satisfied with everything you've got. So there's a couple upgrades and a couple things, but big machinery, I think we're almost to the point where we're okay for a while.
Thank you, Matt. 3D printer.
Yeah, I got 3D printers coming though. That's the goal. That's a goal. I got to learn.
So you'll eventually be like this. It's
that's what I'm worried about.
Drug.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
You got plenty of space
to add on.
Right there behind you, bud.
Yeah,
right there behind
cool.
you. You got plenty of desktop there. They can be like
I can put shelving up there.
There you go.
There you go.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Problem solved. So, Nick, thank you for taking the time out and being with us today. We really appreciate that. And here's the time. If you got anything coming up, let the listeners know what to do, how to find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So State of Woods on Instagram, not much on TikTok, but Instagram, YouTube. We've got the mini school bus conversion from a mail truck to the bus in like 4 months. That's out right now. So go check that out. It is a long one. So if you don't want to watch the whole thing, just let it run. Just like leave it for the night and let it run. We got several videos coming out here soon on YouTube about the lasers. So I've got 11 videos planned right now, and I've got 2 of them fixing to come out in the next couple weeks. So that's going to be fun. And then we'll dive into the 3D printing stuff and see what we can do with that. So, and then always go check out the makercollab.com. You can still see the competition. You can follow the hashtag TheMakerCollab2024 and see all of that. And think about joining and subscribing. And I'm going to do a discount code. Let's do CMP 50.
There we go.
CMP 50. There we go.
We'll do 50% off for the next little bit.
We'll put it in the description after this.
Heck yeah.
I'll go ahead and build it out, and I'll email you with everything. But yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. This has been fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
Appreciate
you. Here we go. Jen.
Good. Thank you, Nick, for joining us. Really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit more. And what do I have coming up? I'm taking a little bit of a breather. I had that wedding fair last weekend. It went really well, and I've got a few consultations scheduled from that. So we'll see how that goes.
Here we go, Matt.
Go.
So I see the end in sight. I'm down to 1 table and 3 cabinets to clean out and remove. And I think I'll be done with the organization. And then I'll start building on the foreman table for the Winfinity that's coming in here probably in about 5 weeks. So I got to get that video shot and get it done.
Here we go. Jamie Page. Tell us about your lathe, buddy.
All right. Well, I'm not going to be using it to make YouTube videos for a couple of weeks, but I have got a couple of guests coming to my house, and I'm going to be using it to teach them how to turn
Nice.
in a few days. So that's what I've got coming up. So, and then cartoons on Saturday.
All right. Saturday morning cartoons. We're going to be making a dragon egg. It's going to be see-through with swirly neon stuff. It's going to glow in the dark and have a dragon in it. And I just can't be more excited about it if you can't tell. It's going to be awesome. Come and see us.
Well, I just finally got done with this big project, and now I'm just kind of like taking it easy. Still got some stuff to do in here, rearrange, and probably be getting with Matt so that we can look at the design and figure out what the next move is for this big project. Other than that, next week, we're flying solo as of now, unless we can get somebody to come on here. We'll have to threaten somebody. But anyhow, remember to go check us out on all the podcast platforms. And if you listen to us on iTunes, please leave a review. And I want 10 stars. 10.
10.
10.
10.
Remember to go visit us on Patreon at patreon.com/Creative Makers Podcast. And till next week, same time, same place, same beautiful faces. Thanks, everybody out there in the chat. Again, Nick, thank you for joining us. And we are out of here.